Imagine this. You're 63 years old. You've worked for 40 years. You've done everything right. You have a retirement account. You have a paid-off car. You've been dreaming about this moment since your 20s. And then, 2 years before retirement, you look at your bank account and you realize you can't afford to stop working. That's not a rare story. It's normal. And today, I'm going to show you why most people go broke right before retirement and how to make sure that's not you. Stay with me, because this is not about saving more money. It's about a mistake almost everyone makes without realizing it. Here's the thing. Retirement isn't when most people go broke. It's the 2 years before retirement that quietly destroys everything. My name is Zach, and I spend way too much time thinking about retirement mistakes and why smart, hardworking people still run out of money. If you're someone who feels behind on retirement, stressed about your savings, or unsure if you're actually ready to stop working, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Look, the retirement industry tells you one thing: just save 10 to 15% and you'll be fine. But the data tells a very different story. According to the Federal Reserve, nearly 1 in 3 Americans have no retirement savings at all. And for those between ages 55 to 64, the median retirement savings is around $185,000. Now let's do some math. If you have $185,000 saved and you follow the common 4% rule, that gives you $185,000 times 0.04 equals $7,400 per year. That's about $616 per month. That's not retirement, that's survival. So what actually happens in the final 2 years before retirement? This is where it gets really interesting. The hidden danger. The peak expense illusion. Here's what most people don't realize. Your expenses often peak right before retirement, not decrease. Peak. At 60 to 64 years old, many people are supporting adult children, paying off late mortgages, carrying credit card balances, facing rising healthcare costs, upgrading homes for retirement, buying the dream RV, taking one last big vacation. Psychologically, something powerful is happening. It's called mental finish line spending. After decades of working, your brain says, "I've earned this." You feel closer to freedom, so you loosen discipline, and that's when the financial damage accelerates. The math problem nobody talks about. Let's say you're 63, you have $500,000 in retirement savings, $50,000 per year income, $20,000 left on a mortgage, $15,000 in credit card debt. You think, I'll just work 2 more years and then I'm done. But here's the math trap. If the market drops 20%, which is completely normal, your $500,000 becomes $400,000 overnight. That's not hypothetical. During the 2008 financial crisis, major indexes fell over 30%. And during the COVID-19 market crash, markets dropped around 34% in a matter of weeks. If you're 35 years old, you have time. If you're 63, you don't. This is called sequence of returns risk, and it's the silent killer of retirement plans. If your portfolio drops right before you retire and you start withdrawing money, you lock in those losses. 2 bad years can erase 10 years of careful saving. Identity shock. Now let's talk psychology, because this isn't just math, it's identity. For 40 years, your identity has been, "I work." Suddenly, retirement is coming. Your income will stop, and that creates anxiety. So what do people do? They compensate. They spend more to feel in control. They upgrade things. They travel. They remodel. They reward themselves. This is called pre-retirement overcompensation spending, and it quietly drains liquidity right when you need it most. Healthcare, the expense multiplier. Here's another reality most people underestimate. Healthcare. According to estimates frequently cited by the Fidelity Investments, a 65-year-old couple may need hundreds of thousands of dollars to cover healthcare expenses throughout retirement, even with Medicare. Now think about this. If you retire at 65 but lose employer coverage at 63, you're in a gap. Private insurance costs can exceed $1,000 per month per person. That's $24,000 per year for a couple. 2 years equals nearly $50,000. And that money often comes straight from retirement savings. Again, depletion happens before retirement begins. The debt drag effect. Now you might be thinking, okay, but I'll just pay off everything before I retire. Look, that's smart. But here's the reality. According to data from the Employee Benefit Research Institute, a significant portion of older households carry debt into retirement, including mortgages and credit cards. Debt does three dangerous things late in life. It increases your required income. It reduces flexibility. It forces higher withdrawals from retirement accounts. Higher withdrawals mean more taxes, faster portfolio depletion, less compounding, greater stress, and stress leads to poor financial decisions. See how this becomes a loop? The almost there spending. Spike, this is where it gets really interesting. Spending tends to spike when people feel almost free. It's like a dieter binging the week before their wedding. There's a psychological release. You feel like discipline is almost over. So you indulge early. In finance, this is dangerous. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say you increase spending by $10,000 per year in your final 2 working years. That's $20,000 gone. But if that $20,000 would have stayed invested at 7% for 20 years, it becomes roughly $77,000. Small decisions at 63 echo loudly at 83. The inflation reality. We also need to talk about inflation. At just 3% inflation, prices double roughly every 24 years. If you need $50,000 per year today, in 20 years, you'll need about $90,000 to maintain the same lifestyle. But here's what most people don't realize. When markets are volatile and inflation rises, near retirees panic. They shift everything into cash. Cash feels safe. But over 20 years, inflation silently erodes it. Safety without growth becomes slow destruction. The safe retiree. I once spoke with someone. We'll call him Daniel. Daniel had $600,000 saved at 62. He was terrified of a market crash. So he moved everything into cash and CDS, earning 2%. He retired at 65. At first, he felt brilliant. No volatility, no stress. But 15 years later, healthcare costs rose, inflation climbed. His purchasing power shrank dramatically. He didn't go broke because he lost money. He went broke because his money stopped growing. That's a different kind of risk, and most people don't see it coming. Why it happens 2 years before? So why 2 years before retirement? Because that's when risk tolerance drops, spending increases, market exposure as highest income is about to disappear. Big decisions get made emotionally. It's the perfect storm, and small mistakes are magnified. How to avoid going broke before retirement? All right, enough fear. Let's fix it. 1. Build a 2 to 3 year cash buffer. Before retiring, have 2 to 3 years of living expenses in cash or conservative assets. If you need $60,000 per year, that's $120,000 to $180,000 set aside. This protects you from sequence of returns risk. If markets drop, you live off cash, not your investments. 2. Eliminate high-interest debt before age 60 credit cards, personal loans, variable rate debt. Kill them early. A 20% interest rate is a guaranteed loss. There's no investment that safely beats that. 3. Stress test your retirement plan. Ask, what happens if the market drops 25% the year before I retire? If the answer is panic, you're not ready. Plan for downturns before they happen. 4. Avoid lifestyle inflation in the final 5 years. This is crucial. If you're 60 to 65, treat this period like financial boot camp. No big upgrades, no new car unless necessary, no expensive celebration spending. Future, you will thank you. 5. Delay Social Security. Strategically, for many people, delaying Social Security increases lifetime benefits significantly. This isn't always right for everyone, but it's worth calculating because guaranteed income reduces stress and portfolio withdrawals. Now you might be thinking, this is overwhelming. I'm already close to retirement. Look, the goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. If you know the trap exists, you can avoid it. Most people don't go broke because they're lazy. They go broke because they misunderstand timing risk. and timing risk explodes in those final 2 years. The real retirement mindset shift. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Retirement doesn't start the day you stop working. It starts 5 years before that. Those final 5 years are the most financially important years of your life. More important than your first job. More important than your first raise. Because mistakes compound faster when time is short. The hard truth, if you're 25 and you mess up, you have 40 years to recover. If you're 63 and you mess up, you have 40 minutes to fix it. That's the difference, and that's why this matters. Your turn, I want you to comment below. If you're within 10 years of retirement, what's your biggest fear right now? Is it healthcare, market crashes, not having enough saved, or supporting family? And if you're younger, what's something you've seen older relatives struggle with financially? Your comment might help someone else avoid a massive mistake. Look, retirement should feel like freedom, not fear, but freedom requires preparation. The good news? Most retirement disasters are preventable. Not with luck, not with perfect timing, but with awareness and disciplined decisions in those final years. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe and share with who needs to hear this. Because the difference between retiring confidently and working forever often comes down to understanding one thing most people ignore. And now, you don't.